right, people, Mr. Right here with Horn and F lesson 4.3. We're going to be learning some notes kind of more in the upper register, the horn. All right. And you can read this story later on, but it's kind of just a synopsis of the fact that, you got the trumpets, they play in this high register, and then exactly an octave lower, you've got the trombones and baritones, and then exactly an octave lower, you've got the tubas. And you can write stuff for them, and they all can play those in octaves, and it sounds great. But the trumpet, I'm sorry, the horn, they are in between the trumpets and the trombones and baritones, excuse me. So sometimes we'll be jumping up in the trumpet territory, sometimes down in the trombone territory. But we do need to learn these notes. These are also within the French horn register also. So we do need to learn them. And notice we've got our open G. If you play just a single horn right now, not the double horn like this top row of fingerings, that's your fingerings right there. And if you play a double horn, the parenthesis indicates that's when you pop down your trigger and use that. And the advantage of that is when you use the trigger, the tubing is shorter, which makes it spreads the partials that you're playing, it spreads them out, makes it easier to hit the note. But you don't have to have that. Typically, also, the general rule is once you're playing, you want to use without the trigger down here up to the G. But once you move to that A, you typically want to start using the trigger for these upper notes. Not always, though. Sometimes, if you're playing a piece that's like an earlier orchestral piece that's written for the horn and F, and they wanted to be played that way, I found like there's a piece I was playing in a community orchestra that it was like a little it's just really fast, and I just used first valve, I think it was, and I played the whole thing because that's what it was written for. To have played it on the trigger side, the fingerings would have been really, really weird and awkward. It would just been impossible to play because it was written just to play on the F side of the horn when they just had just that single horn in F. So I think that's what that, yeah, but that's what I did, and it worked out great. So you want to, so there's a rule, yes, but sometimes you break the rule. But typically that's when we go to the trigger side right there with the A. Now, like I said, the fingerings here are the same for right now, so it won't really matter. So all these fingerings that you'll see are they'll apply for both the single horn in F and just in the double horn as well. So here we go. We're going to start on our walk, our 5-note walk up from the C up to the G. And I know I'm supposed to put my hand in the bell, but I'm not going to because I want to point with the cursor, the mouse, little mouse here, right here, where we're at, so you can make it a little bit easier for you to follow along. And I'm going to try to do all this. And I'm not going to set my metronome at 90 beats per minute. I'm going to put it at, I am going to put it at 90 beats per minute instead of 80, like is what's written here. So here we go. Number one, let me get my, yeah, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's number one. All right, number two right here. And here we move on up to the B natural uh, trigger and middle valve, or just middle valve if you're on a single horn. Ready? And 1, 2. Now I'm probably, because I don't have my hand in the bell, I'm probably a little bit sharp. So, but just push your tuning slides in a little bit, and you'll be right there with me. All right, and then let's see, number three. We're walking our way up, come back down, come up to the B natural, just to do a little stepping around here. So number three. 1, 2. this is awkward. Anyway, I'll stop complaining. I'm sorry. Now, number 4, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, etc. So here we go. Number 4. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to do number 5. Number 5, we walk up here in Hornville, then go up to Trumpetville and come back down. Ready? And 1, 2. One, two. Now, if you're playing and it kind of gets this, if you're just trying to who, your notes are not going to have a definite beginning, not a good attack. You've got to go. Make sure you use your tongue, and it makes it so much easier to nail the pitch. If you're just blowing air, or if you're using the back of your throat like I did as a beginner, that's called a glottal attack. You're using the back of your throat. You don't want to do that. It's because it will limit you. Because later on, see, I can use the front of my tongue and go ticka 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 da. It's called double tonguing, and you won't be able to do that if you're using the back of your throat. Won't work. Sorry. And then here we have the C scale. All right, and even though I've written in the fingerings here, don't get in that habit of writing in your fingerings. Don't be that band student that says you're about the band director is about to start. Oh, wait a minute, Mister, or Mrs. What's I've got to write my fingerings. No, no, no. What that does is it trains you to not read the music, and it's actually you have to process more because these numbers, these fingerings, they don't tell you how high you're supposed to play, how long you're supposed to play. It's just very limited. This kind of gets you started, but then after that, after you learn this, scratch it out if you need to. Um, you don't want to get to that because it'll just train you not to read. And every time you come to a new exercise, you'll be like starting over. So don't do that. It's actually less mental work if you just learn how to read because there's so much information in that little note right there. It lets you know how long to hold it. It'll be what pitch it is. So, and there'll also be later on different markings on it, like staccato, if it's a phrase marking over it or whatever. So don't even though I've written in the fingerings here in some other places, don't get in the habit of writing in all over the place. So here we go. Number 6. This is your C scale with your arpeggio. Notice it's all open right there. I'm just popping down my trigger for the high note, or you just play it all open on the single horn. All right, here we go. Number 6. And I am not going to point with a mouse this time. I'm going to get my hand in here so I can kind of concentrate on playing the horn for a change. Ready? Here, number 6. 1, 2, 3. Here we go, number 7. And 1, 2, 3. Right, number 8. Starting off on our E, 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 F, D. Notice this is both first vowels right there. So it's open, open, first, first, open, open, open. And 1, 2, 3. we go to the C. C, C, B natural, G, F. Let's try that. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. All right. So that is stop. Okay. So that is lesson 4.3 for the horn in F.